I want to bring toxic masculinity back, dude. I feel like I'm the guy to do it.
Walking Blind is hosted by overly emotional dudes who overthink and overanalyze everything. Nothing the hosts say should be taken as medical advice or opinion. They're not professionals. They're about to make that very clear.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the Walking Blind podcast. This is a podcast where we like to normalize checking in on your homies. This is episode 82, and I'm Mike. That is also Mike. Today we have a very, very special guest, our boy Gabe Ochoa.
Hello.
The man himself, the legend himself, if you will.
Thank you. I mean, they you guys say that.
He finally gave us the time of day.
Yeah.
We've been on him for months.
We've been asking him so often.
Yeah, like once, every 6 months.
Legit, I hit him up. I was like, "Hey, are you free?" And he was like, "Yeah."
Yeah, always.
Sick.
Always done to hang out. If I get a little break from the kids, let's go.
Yeah, this is my little escape, my little hideaway. Just lock the door.
Yeah.
I gotta go to work. Bye.
I'm working later.
Yeah. I got the same setup. My garage.
Oh yeah.
AC and everything too. All right, see, the kids started going, crazy, causing chaos from the house. I'm like, I gotta go work. Yeah. I got some flyers to do, and I gotta write some lyrics to new songs.
Yeah,
you did good. That was a good intro.
thank you. That's like the best.
That's probably that is the best one you've done so far.
Yeah, I don't want to make
no
a big deal
script
out of it.
No script off the top of your head.
Dude.
The fucked up thing is, like, while you were doing your intro, I was gonna clap in the middle of it just to fuck you up, right?
Dude.
But I was like, "Oh, he's doing good." If you like roll back the footage, I'm like,
I could feel you. I don't know how to explain it, but I could feel you wanting to do something or chime in.
"I'm glad to know our connection is still there, Michael."
Of course it is.
Oh man, episode 82. So first off, because we've been forgetting these days, which we shouldn't be, we're gonna start with our mental health check, right? And then after that, I want to kind of pick your brain a little bit about how you became like the Inland Empire hardcore legend.
All right, yeah, let's do it.
So, Mike, you want to?
Yeah. So our mental health check is basically where we check in weekly to see where we're at mentally. That way we kind of see if there's anything we're doing that's helping us, any coping mechanisms. And if we're not doing so great, maybe what are we doing that's kind of, or neglecting to do that is like keeping us in that funk. Who's going first?
Yeah, go for it.
It's all you. It's all you've been done.
All right. Mentally, I'm doing really well. I have gotten back into trying to get myself into show shape. So that's been nice. I'm trying to sing every day. Sang today. She's witness to it. It's kind of embarrassing, but I did it.
In the car?
No, at the house.
Oh.
Yeah. I was like, I need to go to my room real quick. Just ignore what's going on in there, okay?
Isn't that weird how that works? You can sing in front of hundreds of people, no problem. But it's just like the spouse, like, nah,
Yeah.
I gotta go away.
Well, I wanted to do like full on warm ups and stuff. So I did like a little bit, and then I was just like, I'm just gonna do like karaoke songs like that I do. So I just sang karaoke basically in my room while she was taking a nap out in front.
That's fair.
So, but that's like good for me. But yeah, I feel like I've been good. I feel like I'm doing pretty well. Obviously, music is huge for me, and then I think exercise is gonna be big for me moving forward. So that's where I'm at. Gabe, where you at this week?
Dude, I want to send the invite again. If you want to go do Mount Rubidoux, let's go do Mount Rubidoux. I haven't been up there lately because there was a lot of car break-ins.
Yeah.
So now I'm a little bit more sketched, really, about parking there. But I definitely want to get back to it. So if you want to go, just say when.
Okay. The only thing that scares me because you say you want to run.
Oh, dude, I'll walk it and then run it.
I'll walk it tonight, dude.
I'll walk one and then run the next one. But I can't. I mean, I'm not even like in shape to like do my full lap or whatever I used to do. But like, yeah, just walk it, get a good like speed walking.
Yeah. I can speed walk really well.
Yeah. Then just start slow. You
Yeah.
know, you can do one time. I walk it one time to do warm up, and then I just start running it like little portions here and there. but it's good. It's good for your lungs.
Michael, would you like to?
Yeah, no. I don't have to get in show shape, but I do have to get in shape in general. So, you know.
But yes, I'm down.
Yeah, let's do it.
I'm so down.
But otherwise, man, life's great. No complaints. Yeah, same thing. Just right now, just trying to find time to do the band, and obviously be a dad to 3 kids that could also work. Definitely sometimes gets to me, and I let off on my kids because they cause so much chaos. It's just like So there's that, but I feel like that's like a little bit more normal.
Yeah.
Like you kind of have those moments, or whatever. But otherwise, I can't complain. Life is good, and every day you wake up, I can't be mad because we've had friends that don't have the opportunity to wake up another day or whatever. So I definitely try to appreciate even the rough days these days than anything. So yeah.
And something so I respect, admire, and I don't know how you're able to get to so many shows.
Yeah. Well, I tell people my wife lets me.
Nice.
So it's cool because let's say this past weekend I saw Mind Force at Chain Reaction on Friday, and then Emperor on Saturday. But Friday work just kind of was just on my nerves a little, and my wife was just yeah, go have fun and let off, whatever, go mingle, let your mind just kind of go, whatever. And so I just went to that super last minute as well, and and the Saturday was already planned for a month. It's $100 ticket, so I was like, I'm not missing that.
What?
Yeah, Emperor, dude, $100, but worth it.
I'm not gonna lie to you, I don't know who Emperor is.
Oh, it's a Norway black metal band. But my dad bought me a CD of theirs when I was in 9th grade, so 99 or something like that, and just never got to see him until this past Saturday, and it's just like,
wait, are we the same age?
What are you? How old are you?
What are you?
What are you? Okay, you're younger. Yeah, 38.
Okay.
Yeah.
He said freshman year 99. I was like,
it's so long ago, dude.
It's an MBR started.
Man, it's crazy to be 26 in a room so many old guys. You know what I mean?
Whatever, dude.
Yeah, dude. Young dudes unite.
That's not even.
That's not even true. A little bit.
All right, so how are you?
Dude, I've been good, man. I actually, funny thing about the whole getting in show shape, I was working out this weekend and I came back here to grab something that I needed, and I didn't have the AC on back here, so it was hot. It's usually I keep it set at 85 just because there's so much guitars and amps and everything in here, but I keep it, but it was still hot, walking in here, I was like, fuck. And then so I decided, I was like, oh, you know what, let's jam a little bit in the heat, sweaty, just to kind of get used to that feeling. Yeah. And it was all bad.
Show reps.
I was like, oh shit.
Dude, the sweat is awesome.
Sweat's killer.
I don't mind the sweat. I band practice. My dudes complain about the sweat, and it's like, no, that's the good.
You know what though? I will say this. Now that I'm not up front, and I'm actually holding an instrument, and I mind the sweat now because my hands are sweaty. I'm trying to fucking play guitar, and I'm like, oh, I get it. I get it, dude.
Wristbands, dude.
Get the Chris Carrabba fucking wristbands on each hand. But yeah, other than that, man, it's just been me and Mike kind of sat down and talked. Well, didn't really sit down, text each other, and thought up some ideas and some plans for the Feels on Wheels, the van that we have.
We did talk a little bit on Saturday, though.
We did talk a little bit on Saturday about it. We gotta give Mike props for showing up for coffee this weekend.
I was an hour late.
he was an hour late, and I sat there by myself for an hour, just scrolling through guitars, because I need more. I don't know. And then we had coffee, and then I ended up day drinking with Martin, and was hungover by 8 p.m.
Nice.
Yeah. So, other than that, yeah, it's been. I've been kind of prioritizing some things. We've been, getting rid of a bunch of stuff in storage, like selling off a lot of the stuff that we're not using, just to kind of clean out house and so it's been nice to kind of get rid of like a bunch of junk and stuff that's been accumulating. Like I hate walking in the garage when there's just stuff piled everywhere.
You hate my garage.
So, but at least you have like a workspace that you work in, right?
Oh yeah, but it's the workspace looks like a bunch of clutter as well. So
yeah. I think maybe it's because I don't like it when the clutter's not mine. It's like that ADD thing where it's like, if it's my lady's stuff, I'm like, that's all her shit. What the fuck is all this stuff? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But
dude, if you guys ever need help with clutter or rearranging things or organizing things, I know someone.
Who's that?
It's crazy. It's Jordan Elizabeth. It's this. I'll tell you guys about it later.
Crazy rates though, huh? Expensive.
Worth it. I think. I think worth it.
Oh man, if you guys can't tell, Jordan's in the room. She's holding a gun to Mike right now to advertise her company.
Plug me in.
I felt the lasers. I was just like, don't worry, I'm gonna do this. Don't worry, she's off camera, but she was like,
oh, dude, I can feel it. And I'm not even looking that way. It's like going. You know when you take like light and you put it through a magnifying glass? It's going through my glasses and just fucking. I felt straight at you.
I was like, don't worry, I got it. Don't worry.
I got it. It's Jordan Elizabeth, right?
Yeah, I definitely would need organizing in my garage, but it's like a lot of shit I just don't want to get rid of.
Yeah,
because a lot of it is like just banned merch.
Oh yeah,
like I mean, other than like Christmas decorations or whatever stuff like that. I mean, I have a whole wall that is just tubs and tubs of band merch.
That's sick.
That I just cannot get rid of.
Yeah,
it's just I'll open a tub and I'm like, oh, that's sick. Like, yeah, put it back in there. Like, but I can't get rid of it. I'm a hoarder.
Dude, you could probably, and I mean I know like you would have to want to do this, right? But you could probably do like a sick ass sale on all that merch.
I told my wife, like, if I were to die,
yeah,
like our estate sale would be like the sickest.
Yeah.
Just so much like 90s and 80s like heavy metal, hair metal shit. Just like I have like 3,000 CDs and records and shit. Just,
dude.
Yeah, dude.
Dude, the Archivist, man.
Yeah, it's a curse and a blessing. More of a curse if you ask my wife. So.
And when are you gonna open Gabe's punk rock library?
Hey.
Keep it on Instagram. That's it. I can barely keep it on Instagram.
Dude, sometimes I see like the stuff that you pull out, you'd be like, how the fuck did you find this from 20 years ago?
Yeah, well, dude, I lost a lot of shit because when we started going to shows, I started going in like 95. So I saw Slayer, it was my first concert. And then Ted Nugent, my second concert. And then from there, it was just like a...
It's just snowball effect.
Oh, yeah. My dad was just like, oh, he likes it. Like, I'm taking him every concert.
Dude, that's sick.
Cool.
And so, so my dad took us to see the Aquabats. That was like our first show, our first like underground show. It was the Aquabats in the end of 96 or something like that. And from there, it was just like, just collecting.
Yeah.
It's like, go to the merch table. I mean, I was like 11 or 12 or something like that. Mm-hmm. And so the bands or merch people will be like, oh, here's like a poster, here's a sticker. And like, dude, I had all kinds of like Pharmaceutical Bandits, like promos all signed and Real Big Fish posters signed, like Aquabats, all these, dude, all this shit that I lost to rain. I had it in a box in my mom's like shed thing. Mm-hmm. And I went in there one day and it was just all fucking
just sprung a leak.
Dude, somewhere. The posters like the ink like just like it's dried on each other. And I just picked up one poster and it was just like the whole fucking batch of it. I'm like, goddamn, like all my Falling Sickness shit that was signed by all the band and like so much shit. Like a ton, like I don't know. Like it was like a box, like a stereo box, like this big or whatever. And it was completely full of posters and shit. Like,
damn.
I used to have a ton more stuff. So I'm slowly finding it again, but there's like a ton of shit that I will never find again.
Yeah, for sure.
Like the Pharmaceutical Bandit stuff.
Yeah.
I will never find that.
Have you, man, were you always like intentional? I guess like I used to kind of collect like when I was like really into baseball, I'd try to get like baseball signed by like my favorite players or stuff or hats. But like, have you always just wanted to like be mindful of like keeping things and collecting them? Like,
no, I mean, kind of. Like, I think we get it. Me and my brother, we're both, blessed with this hoarding from my dad. So my dad, right? Like, he went to concerts in the 80s, like heavy metal shows and shit, like Danza Theater, Monopolies, like all this shit out here. and he would just collect like T-shirts and all. He had like all this like Alice Cooper shit. Like he saw like AC/DC with Bon Scott in Germany and like all the shit. But like, he had like all those shirts, and we were in Ontario. We were like moving out of there, and he goes like, "Yo," and I mean, he probably had like 6 boxes of T-shirts, and he was like, "Yo, do you guys want these?" And we went through them, and I think I picked out a Univision T-shirt. You know, the Spanish.
Yeah,
TV.
yeah.
I picked out a Univision T-shirt, and I go like, "This is cool." And everything else, all the Black Sabbath shirts, all the AC/DC shirts, all that shit from the '80s, and all that crap. We were just like, all right, that's it. We don't need any of it.
No way.
So
That's
and
crazy.
he thinks it's funny now because now like I find shirts that he had, and he's just like, "Oh, I had that. Like, what the hell?"
Yeah, I could have gave
But no, we get it from him. Like, he was a big music collector. I mean, even now he still has photo albums that he still is adding to, like from like events and shows that he goes to. But that's basically what we got it from. My dad kind of like, I don't know, just told us always like how important it is. It's like to keep it. In years from now, it's gonna be worth money or whatever, you know. But just like keep it. But my brother was the first one to kind of like collect all the flyers, like all the showcase flyers that I post, like the calendars. Majority of those are for my brother. My brother was like really on it, like just like go to a show, get all the flyers, go home, put it in a shoebox, and like just fill that shoebox up, get the next one, like, and then yeah, for a minute I was like, I don't know, I would say like in 2007 or something like that, I was kind of like getting rid of shit, just like I don't need this, I don't need that, and then I don't know what happened. I just kind of like it just like maybe I should be holding on to this because a lot of it was sentimental to me, and so that's kind of like just where it started for me. And then yeah, I don't know, yeah, just I blame my dad.
Was your dad a musician himself, or was he just a fan of music?
He just loves music. Like even now, like when he calls me, he won't even like ask for the kids. he won't bring up the kids at all. And like it bothers my wife, you know, to an extent. Like, wait, how does he? No. But like they said, like he called me like I don't know, maybe last week or something, and all he wanted to do was talk about the new Avenged Sevenfold album. That's all he did. He called me. He was like, and I forget where we were, but he goes like, "Hey, have you listened to the new Avenged Sevenfold album?" I go, "Dad, I haven't listened to that band in like 2007 or something. I don't know like anything about that band." He goes, "Oh man, the new album was pretty good. Like it's different." And but you know he's going on and on and on, and we talked for like 20 minutes. And when I get off the phone, my wife goes like, "Did you ask about the kids?" I go, "Nothing." Nothing. He called to talk about. Hey, he called to talk about Avenged Sevenfold.
Yeah. To be fair, I've heard that record's great. I haven't listened to it.
No, I haven't either.
I've heard that it was great though. I don't just haven't given it a time.
I just listened to that new Slipknot the other day. My dad he called me up one time too, told me how good it was, and he bought it for me.
Oh shit!
And I
like physical CD.
Yeah. Always has to be physical. Yeah. I try not to listen to anything online. Like no band camps, none of that. Like it's like I still like the idea of seeing a band live.
Yeah.
Like I don't want to hear a band on recording. Like let's say like Drain, right? Like I feel like if I would have listened to Drain on CD, it wouldn't have hit me as hard as it did when I seen them at Chain. Yeah, it was like fucking goosebumps. Like the only way like I try to explain to people's when Suicide Silence first played Bludgeon to Death, it was like chills up my spine and all shit. Like it was like, oh my god, it's like different. Like there's something different about this band. That's the same feeling I got when I saw Drain. Yeah. And I feel like if I had heard them anytime before that on recording, it would have been like,
it wouldn't have hit the same.
Yeah, not at all. But because when I got home like the next day, or I got home, you know, like a couple days later, I was like, okay, let me like try to like relive that moment and like listen to the albums. It didn't do it for me. Yeah. It was just like I almost like I fucked it up.
Yeah.
By listening to it on the album. But I mean, live it's like amazing. So I still like the idea of seeing a band live. But yeah, my dad was not a musician. He just liked music a lot. And my cousin, he was like one of the first bands to sign to Metal Blade Records. This band called Armored Saint.
Okay.
And him and my dad used to go to shows all the time.
That's sick.
And so like my dad has like in his photo albums or whatever, he has like pictures of him hanging out with like Morbid Angel like backstage and like all this shit, dude. Like I mean, he has like all kinds of shit. But yeah, I mean, we were just raised from like birth basically on heavy metal. I mean, I think we're like his dream come true. You know, like he like races on music, and all he cared about was just like do music. Like me and my brother, go do music. I dropped out of high school.
Yeah.
In 10th grade to go to Hellfest in 2002. And like both my parents were just like, school can wait, like go do it, you know.
Holy shit.
Was that like the Hellfest one that gets always posted online?
Yeah. 2002 was the one with like throwdown one, the raise your fist footage gets posted a lot online. But and like that one is like I'm immortalized on that DVD, just screaming to them, and it's just crazy. I was only like 16, 17, something like that when I did that. And yeah, my parents just were like, here's $500, have a good time. And with people like I didn't even know. I met at a show.
What the hell?
This dude Greg was just like, yo, we're going to Hellfest. Like, we have a space. We have a spot in the car. You want to go? Like, kind of. Let me ask my parents. And my parents were like, yeah, go.
Dude, that's sick.
Yeah.
It's so it's rare to see.
That's a very
you know what I mean?
rare like story.
Yeah, my dad was always into like rock and roll and metal and shit like that. And even still today, like same thing. Like he called me, I want to say like maybe a month ago or something like that, and was like, "Have you listened to new Metallica yet?" And just like gave me this whole rundown of the new Metallica record, and I was like, "Okay, cool." But if I were to tell him like I'm gonna drop out and go to a show, he'd be like, "The fuck you're not."
Yeah.
That's where the Asian dad kicks in. Is like, "No, get your ass back to school. I'm gonna fucking beat your ass." Like, all right.
No, I'm trying. All I got to do right now to get my GED, anyways, is just do math.
Yeah.
I have everything else out of the way.
Yeah.
Just math. And I went in to get my GED, like, I don't know, about a couple years ago now. I missed it by fucking 1 point. I'm like, fuck, man.
I mean, at this point, do you need it?
I think just to kind of like set an example for my kids.
Okay.
That like
that's fair.
don't give up. Like
Yeah.
get it done.
Yeah.
It's important.
Unless you're doing cool shit.
Unless you're going
exactly.
to Hellfest
Unless you're doing cool shit.
2028.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, but there's times like, you know, like in hindsight, like I almost kind of regret like dropping out of school or like at least taking it for granted, you know?
Yeah.
Because I had like friends, like there's this dude Kenny I used to go to school with. He used to pick me up, and I found out like years later that like he got killed by the cops and shit like that. And I was just like,
shit.
you know, it was like so like shit like that, like you know, friends that I had that like passed away, and it's just like I don't know. I'm still in touch with some, but there's some that I kind of wish that like.
You'd held on.
I was just there from like beginning to end and
Yeah.
whatever. Like I don't know, but that's just me. I know people that are just like, high school is done. Fuck all you. Like I'm out of here. Like
I never really had that. That was you, right? Like you were like,
but I was
"I'm
like,
out."
but actually, not fuck all you. It was kind of like just fuck all this. 'Cause
Fuck most
I
of
like,
you.
yeah, I like my friends. I didn't care enough. I was just happy to be done with it.
Yeah.
And then I just went for like years of just bullshitting college, just so I could stay on my parents' insurance.
I think for me, it was like, dude, I jumped around from school to school so often that like I never developed close enough relationships with people until realistically, like I moved back out here. Like I still have a few friends from Atlanta that I'm close to, like Brian, my brother, my buddy Phil, and a couple other people. But for the most part, like it wasn't until I came back here and like got to La Sierra where I'd like made like probably some of my closest friends.
yeah,
Because I would be around for a year and then it'd be like, all right, I'm out.
no.
And then at a time when there was no social media or anything like that to like keep in contact with people, it just fizzles
And how
out.
wild is it with punk and hardcore, or at least like you know this like world,
Yeah.
like it's like lifelong friendships.
Yeah.
That like just are made over, you know, power chords.
Yeah.
Like it's fucking wild.
It and what was crazy to me was like, even though I didn't stay close with a majority of people, it would be weird to travel and then see people that I was like, holy fuck, I haven't seen you in 15 years. I haven't seen you for forever. Like the whole Mikey Diamonds thing came up because I was in Connecticut on Warped Tour, and one of the dudes there was like, oh, dude, Mike, you used to always have the diamond earrings, Mikey Diamonds. And it was a joke. And then it became like this whole rap thing that was like also a joke, but you know, it is what it is.
Well, dude, just the last October when we went up to that weekend, you know, it had been almost 7 years since MBR had been up in Spokane, and I was like, I said it like a few times, but like I'd see a group of dudes and I'd be like, you guys are fucking men now. What the hell? Like you guys were like,
Yeah.
maybe like just getting out of high school. You know, like some of the girls from the scene too, but it's just like, dude, you have kids? How?
Yeah.
Like I've seen you do keg stands. Like how do you?
How much more cool is it though that they're still there?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That they're still coming out.
Yeah.
Because
Fucking right.
dude, like 7 years in this world is like a lifetime.
Yeah.
And you're lucky, like if you even decide to stick around 5 years. It's like it's such a like it's a wagon hopping thing, you know, that like you just jump on, you're on it for a year or two, and then it's like, all right, well, on to real life now,
Right.
you know.
When you find the killer, I feel like if like a lot of like punk rock and hardcore, so you get married, you get like a big person job,
Yeah.
you know, or I don't know. I'm trying to think of what else. It's like it's like skateboarding.
Kids, yeah.
Like everyone gets their license, and it's like
I don't have to skate anywhere.
If you skate after you got your license, you're a true skater. In my
Yeah.
opinion.
Yeah.
Like
If you drive to places to skate,
yeah.
you're a fucking skater.
yeah, you're real deal.
So, kind of speaking of like time off and hiatuses, how long did Darasuum kind of like chill for a little bit before?
I think it was 6 years. It could be a little longer, a little less. I don't know specifically, but I know it was like around 6 years. And I mean, all of that was just from burnout.
Yeah.
I mean, on the side of like drama that we were dealing with another band at the time that just kind of like really like solidified like our frustration with where we were or whatever. But it was like, even then it was like a weird time because it was like, now like metalcore is like cool. I don't know. And like at the time it was like, we didn't sound like Madball obviously and like all that kind of shit. And like, if you didn't sound like that, like the bands at the time were like Backtrack, Expire, like Soul
H2O.
Surge. Well, like not even like H2O. H2O was kind of like already kind of like phasing out. But like the cool bands at that time were like those New York hardcore bands, and or like the New York style hardcore bands because Expire is Midwest. But like we were always told we're too metalcore.
Okay, yeah.
And we're on tour like Marauder or something, you know, and it's just like like we don't mesh, you know. But like every night kids would be like, oh, like we thought you guys were like Ghost Inside or something, like stick to your guns, you know. I was like, nah, we're not, like, no, you know. So like we would always like turn heads and shit, but I mean we were just dealing with drama, politics, really, you know. And yeah, we just got home, but we were going like back to back tours, like a lot of West Coast runs, and we did like a couple of full US runs, and by the time we did that Marauder run, it was just, well, we got our team, this, you know, I should say, like we had a booking agent and then media scare. They're like, oh, you guys need an album, you guys need a tour, you guys need an album. It's like, yo, like stop putting this on tour.
Yeah,
and then
we can't.
Then we can write.
Dude, yeah. And they're like, oh, well, we rent a space on tour, and like I'm like, no, like, dude, like if we're touring, we're tourists.
Yeah.
Like we're gonna go see everything we can.
Yeah.
Because like we don't do this shit, you know, forever. Like we're gonna go live our moments now, and you know, so we were kind of getting pulled back and forth, like write an album, go on tour, write an album, and yeah, with that on top of the politics of the time or whatever the fuck, we were like, man, fuck this, like we'll just take like a couple months off, and the couple months turned into a year, and then yeah, until COVID hit, when I'm like, all right, well, kind of bored, like I guess I could just finish this EP now. I mean, because it was originally supposed to be a full length. We were writing for a full length so we could go to Japan.
Oh shit.
And then we found out, like, once we got this EP done, we found out the dude who was gonna book us in Japan is like, you know, he got kicked out of the Japan hardcore scene. So like now that's off the table. But yeah, I got bored, and I just decided to wrap the album up. Everybody in the band got excited, and then we just kind of went from there. Just finished it up, got it mixed and mastered by my friend Dan, and from Scars of Tomorrow.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, he mixed and mastered all of that and recorded it too. But yeah, once we got it done, the whole band was like, oh my god, like this is sick. Like let's just do something. Let's do a show at least. And so yeah, we do. I told the guys like we could do a show because I want to do it on vinyl. So we have to sell the fucking record.
Yeah.
So yeah, we did the vinyl, and then we sold out like, I don't know, in a couple months or something, and just haven't stopped. Now we're back, hopefully, to be more on track, get a full length written, hopefully by the end of this year, and see where it goes from there. But hopefully Japan gets back on the table, and it'll be sick.
Did
all the sushi.
That's my last bucket. Well, not my last, but it's like that's my top bucket list.
You guys haven't been?
Japan?
Sheesh.
I know, dude.
You guys should have gone out there with, like, I feel like 2011, 2012, everybody was going to Japan. That dude who gave us the offer to go out there, he was bringing out like a mirror and fuck, I forgot who else he brought out, but yeah, I know there's a couple. I know another dude who is always bringing bands out there, but I feel like at 2011, 2012, a lot of U.S. bands were flying to Japan, so I'm surprised you guys have not been.
Been to Australia twice. But,
so sick.
Yeah. No,
That sounds like a sick time.
Yeah, Australia. I mean, Australia was my bucket list spot when we went, but then after that, I was like, it's just like Japan.
Do you have time to do cool shit when you're in Australia though? That's the one thing. Like I've always wanted. My goal has always been to go to Europe with the band or with a band, and just something with music. I just want to go there and know when I did it on music. I got paid to do it.
Yeah.
And
then experience all the cool shit.
Yeah, yeah.
Go, yeah.
But everyone has always told me, like, dude, go on your own time because you don't see shit. Like, you're stuck in a van on someone else's time.
Yeah.
And
you realistically, you have, if you're lucky, you have like a 3-hour window. I guess maybe 5-hour window, maybe. But that's to be like, one of the craziest things MBR ever did was we saw Paris in 3 hours. And when I say we saw Paris in 3 hours, we were literally sprinting to see. We saw Eiffel Tower, the Louvre, and then Notre Dame.
You're just doing drive-bys of everything.
Literally drive-bys.
Yeah.
Like we were like exhausted.
Yeah.
And like, but that was the only way. Like, and we were literally sprinting, jumping in cabs, jumping in subway or whatever, and like, it was cool. I didn't enjoy any of it.
Yeah, you can't.
You know what I mean?
You can't sit and just take it in.
Yeah, and so the few times where I actually got to, like, and people want to ask, like, you know, obviously people are like, oh, what's your favorite place you ever been? The places that have been my favorite are the places where I actually got to chill, or someone local showed me around and showed me like why this is important. Because the other thing too, like, I've been to cool places, I've seen things, and then like I either find out later, like, oh, this is where this happened. Yeah. And I, like, in the moment, I'm just like, this looks like it's probably something, I don't know what it is, I don't have time. So like, you can just keep.
So what's your first spot you've been to?
I really like Vienna.
Okay.
And it's because both times we've been there a couple times, but 2 of the times I had friends that showed me around. And then I really like Barcelona, same thing.
So
friends took me around, showed me around. So like, those were like some of my favorite places because I got to like really, even though kind of short amount of time, but I got to like experience a lot of it. But I will say that Australia. So Australia, for me, Australia and Europe are different. Europe, it's a lot of places are super historic, right? So it's like you can be anywhere and like at least, you know, oh, that building is like this old and
older than our country.
Yeah, older than our country stuff. Yeah. You know, and there's like a lot of that. So I feel like it is easier to like at least experience some stuff in a short amount of time because pretty much anywhere you go, there is at least something kind of cool or significant. A place like Australia, it's more of like it's more like scenic because like there's a lot of everything's coastal one, and so it's just kind of like, you know, beaches, which I love beaches, and then love them, and then I don't know, just like certain.
Mike, you don't have to lie to people.
Certain, you know, and then obviously like the bigger cities like Sydney has like the Opera House and things like that, but it's more. I felt like Australia was more just kind of taking in like how pretty some of the places are rather than like what like the historical significance is for a lot of the places. But I don't know. I agree with whoever told you like just go on your own. Yeah. You'll enjoy it way more. I 100%.
And that's how I am. Like when I talk about traveling now, it's always based off of like, well, what's happened there? Like, what do I know from my history books that, you know, that will draw me to those places? So like Switzerland or Belgium, I'm like, I don't know anything about that. You know, I went to Belgium and it was just kind of like,
this is cool.
Yeah, I mean, it was cool to like be there, but it's just like we don't know anything. But like you go to like London, you go to Paris, and you're just like, holy shit, that's the Arc de Triomphe. That's like World War II, you know. So the whole like that whole street, you know, Hitler did his whole like march or whatever crap, and it's just like a trip, like to like be in those like little areas with like monumental historical events that happen. Or you go by the Eiffel Tower, you know, there's always that picture that floats around of a guy standing, I guess like it's like a before and after, like Hitler standing and like he's standing there in the same spot, but it's just like stuff like that is what fascinates me. I've always been drawn to like World War II. I've only ever liked history, even in high school. It was like I was just so drawn to like history for some reason. So if I go traveling anywhere, it's always like, well, what happened here? Like, I don't know. It's just always been like that. Like Charleston. That's like my favorite U.S. city to go to because it's just so historical in such like a small area. Like you could just you could rent a bike. Or what I did, I had a Razor scooter, and I could just scoot around all over the place and hit all the spots. You know, people are like, oh, like George Washington stayed at this place on Battery area. I don't know whatever the fuck it's called, but like stuff like that is where I'm always drawn to. But you know, I always make time to do all that. Otherwise, I'd be like stuck in a van with all the bands I was on tour with because they didn't like doing shit.
Dude, I appreciate. At the time, I probably didn't, and so looking back, and I'm a little more thankful that Christian, to his best efforts, was big on like, let's go see this.
Yeah.
Like he was the one that orchestrated. Like when we were in when we went to go see like Stonehenge.
Yeah.
Like he was the one who was just like, dude, it's only like $15. Like let's go, whatever it was. And I remember thinking like, I should probably go see this. Like,
I think it also depends on who's routing you also, like who's
that's true.
You know, routing you through the different venues, different cities that you're in, because if it's somebody who understands that like you guys are tourists, like this place that we've never been to, then they can kind of set it up to where you have an opportunity versus somebody that's like, nah, fuck that, you're gonna have like 6-hour drives, you know, and like long ass, you know, stretches of road of nothing, then you're like, oh fuck, right.
But and with that, you know, we would try to like leave, you know, at night, which is kind of a bummer, but it's like, well, then you get to where you're at early and you get to see stuff. And like as we're talking about it now, like a lot of my favorite stops were more like places I would never, like every time I was like, dude, what? Carlsbad Caverns? Awesome. They're so cool. Such a rad experience. You know, stopping like in Yellowstone, like places like that, like it's so like I didn't think I'd appreciate like nature things. You know, even Niagara Falls from both sides. You know, that's like just cool to see.
Cool, yeah.
I feel like a lot of the man-made things were always such a disappointment. First time I saw Mount Rushmore, I was just like,
and I wasn't. I thought it was just so cool because it was just like you learn, you see this,
the history
all
is
the
cool.
books, and it's just like I know like even like its grounds, right, that it's built on, it's like it's so shitty that the United States allowed it to happen.
Yeah,
but it's just like it's still just like that's fucking cool because I've seen this my entire life.
Yeah, but I think for me in my mind, and this is I guess my own thing, should have known that it wasn't like this massive thing. I thought it was like I'm sure if you walk up to it and you're close to it, it's huge. But like from where you see it, I'm like, that's it. It's like this big. And it's like, and then and
the
then
Mona Lisa.
Yeah,
it's not as impressive as
freaking Statue of Liberty. I was like, is that it right there? Like we were going on a boat like right next to it, and it's like the platform it's on is almost taller than the actual
Staten Island Ferry.
We went,
so that's why it's so small. We were just there last week or 2 weeks ago with the kids, and it's just like my daughter calls it the Liberty Statue, and so she's called it that for like a couple of years or about a year now or something. She learned about it in school, and she came home like, oh, the Liberty Statue. And so when we went there, we finally showed her, and she was like, oh, that's cool. Anyway, like
there it is. All right.
Yeah.
Empire State Building was pretty impressive, but also I guess like I got to stand next to it.
Yeah.
And like,
so this time I went to New York, I tried to go to Empire State Building, and I tried selling my wife on it through my daughter, telling my daughter like, yo, a big monkey climbed a building out here. And I looked at the picture, you know, and my daughter would not let it go. She's like, can I see the picture of the monkey on the building? Like for the I don't know, the entire evening. Let me see the picture. And I was like, we could go see it. See it. But I had worn them out because me being the music fan, I was like, I gotta go see CBGB, and I gotta go see A7 Club. So I went to those two spots and made them walk and did all that. So by the time we got back to the hotel, there was like, that's it, we're done, that's it.
They burned us out.
Yeah, but I had to see it because I went to CBGB in 2002. Saw Coach 7, Hopes Fall there, and so I was just like, I've always just wanted to return to see what the building looked like now. and it looks pretty sick. They kept like a lot of flyers on the wall still, the original air vents, and the walls they said are still original, which they look original because they're still like destroyed, but
They're just grimy.
oh yeah, dude, you should have seen the floor. The floor was like, it was like all like caving in on itself.
Yeah.
Like when I walked in there, I'm like, whoa, my god, like it's not even safe in here. But I mean, it's just cool, you know, like because I love like Dead Boys and like learning about, you know, I don't know, the beginning stages of punk or whatever, and just being in that room. Even at the time in 2002, I remember just being like awestruck by it.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. I remember seeing like Josh Grabble or whatever from Trustco Records. He was like in a corner, and I was like, oh my god, like, that's Josh. He's in the well. He released 18 Visions, and like just being all like starstruck by him, you know.
Yeah.
But I don't know. It's like I still could like vividly like picture that whole evening of just being inside there.
I've been to New York so many times. I've never been there.
I've driven by it, but I've never.
God is man. It's like it's just like I mean, so like for you, like I don't know, are you a fan of punk at all or?
More recently, ever since I started hanging out with them, but I wasn't like an old school.
Like, yeah, I would imagine that you would make it like I did. I was like, like I mean, I told my wife like, yo, we'll eat pizza here, but I'm gonna walk a couple blocks down here to see CBGB and A7 because we're here. Yeah, we're like 15 minutes, whatever. Because it's pretty out of the way. Mm-hmm. Like if you're going, where we were staying, but there's like the subway we were taking was like the one or something like that, and it's like the total opposite side, like CBGB and all that, and I don't know how I was able to like get so far east side, but I did, and I was like I wasn't gonna let them make me pass up the chance to see it.
You will not take this from me.
No, hell no, dude.
I don't give a shit if you're my family or not.
Yeah, dude. It's like I had to. It's just and I saw like there was like a Bad Brains mural that was being painted at the time, and they just unveiled it or whatever. Mm-hmm. Yesterday or the day before or whatever, I saw a picture of it, and Shepard Fairey was painting it, and I was there when he was fucking doing it. I'm like,
dude, that's sick.
I was like, I couldn't met Shepard Fairey. Fuck that.
Dude, that's cool, man. It's like refreshing to see somebody who just has a genuine love of this shit. You know what I mean? Like just, overall.
Dude, I'm a lifer. Like, it's like no matter how hard I've tried to like. I remember like I don't know when I was 21, 22, I was like, okay, I'm fucking done. Like I was like the girl I was dating at the time. Her like parents and everything were like, oh, he doesn't take this serious enough, so I decided like stop touring because at that time I was with Suicide Silence, Stick to Your Guns, Abigail Williams, and I was kind of going back to back or something.
Right.
And I was like, okay, I'm done.
Yeah.
Like that's it. Like I gotta get like. Big, I gotta be a big boy.
Get a big boy.
And I tried, man, but it was like one show came up. I don't know what show it was, but it was like one of those ones that like I can't miss it, and then it just sucks you right back in. You know? So that's like I'm just a lifer with it. It's like I can't stop going. Like, and again, it's just my dad. You know, just he just drilled this passion for music into us, and it's just like I don't know, can't escape it.
Yeah.
It's got its hold on me forever.
Oh yeah.
Dude, that's all it takes, man. All it takes is one good show, just one time being around everybody where you're like, fuck, I'm back.
Yeah.
Because I walked away for a long time. I walked away. Like, there was a time period when I was in Creative Void where I was dating this girl that I thought, hey, there's a future here, right? Mm-hmm. And then I remember she had like this vacation booked to Italy. And I was broke. I couldn't go to Italy. I couldn't afford to go to Italy. And she was like, I'll pay for it. I'll take care of it. Just come with me. And I was like, okay. And then so like as she's getting ready to buy the tickets, I get this call from Jake. And he's like, hey, we have a potential run with Suicide Silence. I go, I can't go on vacation. She's like, what do you mean you can't go on vacation? I was like, I can't go on vacation. Like this, if this pans out, this is huge for us. Yeah. And she's like, it became this big fight. And I just remember thinking like, I can't be in this relationship anymore. Like and I was like, we're in completely different headspaces, you know, whatever. I remember breaking up, and it was like a big deal when we broke up because we'd been together for so long. Everybody had known us together. Like even Mike knew back then. And
Mike.
Huh? Yeah. And then after we broke up, like the tour didn't happen. I ended up doing Warped Tour 2010. with Atticus. So I was still gonna be gone. I was still gonna be on the road, and it was just like this whole like after that, and then after everything, we come home, and then it was like, oh, maybe I should do this whole real life thing, like for real. And that at that point in time, it was like, oh, but you kind of fucked up everything that you had in real life, so now you got to pick up the pieces and figure it out. So after Creative Wood, I walked away for a little bit. I did side projects and like the hip hop stuff and all just to keep busy.
Yeah.
But it was never like, you know, I stopped going to shows. I stopped, like, I would still listen to music, but I would only go if they were playing.
Yeah.
And then
Still like that.
Huh?
It's still like that.
Yeah. Sometimes.
I only see you.
Yeah. But it really just like depends. And then I forget what show I went to, and I was like, oh fuck, I kind of missed this. I remember like I missed the feeling of being at these.
Was it like wasn't it like the Rockefeller shows or?
It was before that.
I was gonna say, that'd be rough.
It was before that.
If Rockefeller changed your life, woo!
No, yeah,
No, it didn't change. It just brought. It was kind of like
the Rockefeller show did bring us back in though.
Yeah. Well, so for me, it's like
was that the one we did with you guys?
no, it was before that
Okay.
because we'd gone to see some friends that were playing,
Yeah.
and like I remember just being there and then like finding out like where's this band from? Like, oh, they're IE. I'm like Riverside. They're like, yeah, these band's from Riverside. And I was like, oh, fuck, they are. And like being there and being like, I don't know any of these bands, and then realizing like I'm so removed. I don't know the scene.
Yeah.
And these are all bands from the IE, and I don't know who any of them are. Like, and that's not a knock to them. That's me. Like,
Yeah.
And so I feel like we did a pretty good job starting to go back to shows and like,
Yeah.
you know,
Starting to show up to things randomly. Just
yeah,
I wouldn't commit to anything, but I'd be like, okay, I'm free tonight. Let's go.
yeah.
You know,
We'll see.
Yeah, and that's the one thing like I never wanted to do was like even like when Darasuum was touring full time, like we were still, well, me anyway, I was still always at a show. Like I never lost that, you know, the love for it, regardless if I was doing it every day or whatever. It's like I always try to keep my ear to the ground with a lot of the bands, but there were some bands, you know, that I saw at Rockefeller's where I was just like, what the fuck? Like, where the hell did these guys come from?
Right.
You know? And it's like, it's just one of those things, like no matter how, you know, low to the ground you are, it's like there's
Always
so
a good new-
many fucking bands. There's always so many bands. But
and kids are just getting better and better at what they're doing, dude. It's fucking insane. Like these kids are shredding, and these like there's other kids doing shit with their voice that I'm like, the fuck? Like I haven't.
It's funny when I talk to a lot of these kids now, because a lot of them, their gateway to like hardcore, or at least this world of metalcore, whatever, was like Suicide Silence.
Yeah.
You know, and it's just like, so you guys are lucky. Like,
Yeah.
you guys had heavy like right out of the gate.
Yeah.
Right out of the gate.
You know, like for us, I mean, it took like a slow build of like, for me, it was like Hatebreed, you know, like under the IPP was like, holy fuck. But then it was like, then Bleeding Through, Portrait of a Goddess, Chimeras, This Present Darkness. Like, those ones were just like, holy fuck, now this is fucking heavy, you know?
Yeah.
But it took so, well, then Suicide with Bludgeon to Death, it would like just blew my fucking
That
mind.
just fucked up everything for everyone.
Dude, I
was
remember
like,
when Mitch would come to my house, right? Like just constantly hyping me up about, oh, you got to hear this song. You got to hear this song. Because he would always come to my house to add on MySpace. He'd add people on MySpace. And he would just sit on my computer for like an hour until it basically stopped you from adding people.
Yeah.
He would just go there and keep adding. But the whole time he was like, we would come up with like concept, like album cover concepts for them and like all this stuff. But he would keep telling me like, oh, you got to hear the song we're working on. Like it's so good. It's so heavy. Nah. And I was like, well, let me go to a project and check it out.
Yeah.
And mind you, I was like sort of like managing and booking them. But he was just like gung ho. I'm like, no, you got to hear it when we play it.
Yeah.
And they play that showcase, and it's just like worth the wait.
just so he knew
Worth
you
the
needed to
wait.
see it live.
Yeah.
You know, my interactions with Mitch were always like outside of shows and stuff. Like I used to get tattooed by John Montgomery, and I would like over on D Street in the fucking hood. And I would see
Pet
Mitch there.
Syndicate.
Yeah. And then, you know, it was always just kind of like pretty sparse. Like I don't think I ever once was like, hey, I play in a band too thing. You know, I was just always like, oh, sick, dude. He was always super sweet to me. Super nice guy.
He's the reason why I even got tattooed at all.
Yeah.
Because he kept calling me like a sissy, you know, like the whole time, like cause he did get like tattooed, and I slap him and shit, you know.
Yeah.
I did that whole thing, and so he just kept making fun of me and all this shit. And this one time he had set up an appointment with John, and when he's told me, you're getting tattooed today, I was like, okay, well, I don't know what I want. Like, came here not expecting a tattoo.
Yeah.
And so Mitch had like drug free tattooed on his shin or whatever, and like in wood X's or whatever. And so that's basically what he told me to get. But he said, but have straight edge instead. So this was the first one that I got. It was off Mitch's idea. And then from there, I was like, well, now it looks stupid.
Yeah, now I got to fill up the rest of the
now it's
space.
just one thing. And so, after that, like,
Oh, yeah.
You know, but he set me up to like ruin my life with tattoos. So.
It's crazy that he, like, there were so many people that I've met and talked to over the years that were like, oh, I saw Mitch's tattoos and I wanted to get tattoos. Because he had such sick ass.
I get people now still, hey, what are those black boxes on his fingers for? And it's like, they're cover ups.
Yeah.
Oh, wait, what? I thought they were sick with just black boxes. No. He had forever tattooed on his knuckles, and then he sold out and he covered them up.
Yeah.
It's like, that's it. Like,
There's
like,
not a huge story.
Like, he didn't like black them out just to have cool black boxes. Like, he had essentially a straight edge tattoo. But
That's funny. I did not know that, and that was a question of mine. So
Really?
it said forked. It was forks ever. So FORX and then ever on the side.
Hell yeah.
But
I remember just thinking like that was the first time I'd seen dudes stomp on stage like that.
Mm-hmm.
His stomps were so, because he was so tall and lanky and shit, so his foot was like fucking up here before he was.
Yeah, and he'd always done it even in Dying Dreams. And I seen his first band too, Breakaway, at a skating rink. And he just always had it.
Yeah.
Like, it's funny because like when I had met him, I didn't have like this like, I don't know, this God complex with him. It was just like, to me, he was just like a goofy kid.
Yeah.
You know, he like other people had always told me like, oh, like that guy looks so cool, no. But I never seen it. Like to me, he was just like a regular dude that like we just hung out all the time. Like for me, it was Eric Gregson from Death Star.
Okay, yeah.
He was like the dude like. Yeah. He was like, I guess, my Mitch to these kids, you know. I thought he was like the cool, hardcore looking dude, but yeah, with Mitch, it was like I never saw that God complex out of him like everyone else does, but I always can recognize his presence on stage. Yeah. That like going from like hanging out in my bedroom and then him on stage was like night and day.
Yeah,
it's like you had this like really soft. He was real soft spoken off stage, like. He was funny, like very. I like to tell him when I hang out with his dad, we always talk about it. But like that song he wrote, "You Only Live Once," it's like if there was anybody to write a song like that, it would be Mitch, because Mitch was like that. Like anything bad that we had done in our friend group was because of Mitch. Mitch was like a mastermind of like, let's go do this. I'm not gonna incriminate myself and like tell you what. But he would. We should go try this. We should try that. Let's see what happens, you know? And we would just do all this shit off of his ideas of like, let's just experience it, you know? Like, let's see how
see what happens.
Yeah. And that's how he always was. And he never lost it. Like, he was just always very much of like, you really do just have this one life. You got to just live it up, you know? And I'm happy knowing, you know, that, you know, even though he died, like he, you know, he got to do everything.
He did. He did everything.
The last conversation. Well, I want to say the last conversation. We did have a conversation when I was on tour with Thrash and Burn. We met up. They did I think they were doing Mayhem, and they had an off date. And I was with Abigail Williams on a Parkway Drive, Darkest Hour, Thrash and Burn. I forget what year, but they played a show with us in New York, and me and Mitch had like a whole like heart to heart conversation, just basically talking about like how wild is it? How like we like went from like high school kids, and like we're hanging out in upstate New York, you know, like in a tour bus, and on their tour bus,
and we didn't come here together. We met here doing different shit.
You know, it's I mean, we had always tripped out on like our lives, how they like realistically the way we were as kids. It's like we should have been in jail.
Yeah.
Like, especially him. Like, I mean, he had already been arrested a couple times.
Yeah.
So, you know, if there was anyone that, you know, you thought would, like, really die early, it probably would have been him. Not in the way he went out, you know, in reality, but, like, you know, you would just think that, I don't know. He really did live life to fullest, and then he kind of, like, brought a lot of us along for that ride, and it's just, like, it's crazy. We talk about it now with all our friends. It's just, like, man, we should have all like been dead or in jail, you know, like how crazy is that?
How the fuck did we survive all of this? That's sick though, man.
A moment I guess like that sticks with me is seeing knowing that Suicide Silence was going to play Warped Tour and we were in Arizona, and like in my mind, like I knew they were doing like really well, but I just in my mind it's Riverside, like it's IE, so like how big is it be, and like standing, like where I was standing, and I was like standing like at a point where thinking in my mind like, dang, I hope people come out and see them.
Yeah.
And I was like, good distance, and then like people started coming in. I'm like, oh, it's fucking cool, dude. And then like by the time I started playing, it was fucking packed, and that was the first time it hit me. I was like, dude, they're like a fucking big ass band now. And it was Arizona, and it was like as far as you could see, everyone was there to see them. And I was just like, that's insane.
It's crazy. I remember going to Arizona with them on the Tranquiller tour, and her Destruction had headlined that night. They like were doing a run or whatever, and they hopped on last minute. It was like Destruction, Suicide, Sworn Enemy, As Blood Runs Black, and T Pure to Die or something like that.
Fuck.
And it was sad because like Suicide played, and then I think like 20 people stuck around for Destruction. And to me, I was like, and I grew up on Destruction, and my dad, and I was just like, oh my god, dude, like this is a legendary metal band, and no one's here, like, but like but it's like it's crazy seeing the explosion with Suicide, like being a part of that whole like beginning of that deathcore wave. I remember being at those meetings when they got signed. I was there when they got signed. They took us out to dinner and everything, and we were talking about like a rollout plan, and I remember telling I think at the time his name was Joe, telling him like, oh, like whatever Job for a Cowboy got going with Metal Blade, we need that with Suicide. And he's like, we got it. And so like we'd go to like on tour or whatever, we'd go to like Hot Topic, and like Job for a Cowboy always had like these clear decals of like album coming or whatever, or I think Genesis maybe, I don't know, whatever. But then I'd take a picture and send it to Joe and be like, this is what they need, and they got none of it. And the fact that it's still, even with all that heavy promotion that Job for a Cowboy got, they still were the top selling Century Media band. I don't know if they still are, or I doubt at this point, but I mean, the amount of albums they sold for The Cleansing was just like how insane. Like that, it was all like organic marketing, because they just kept touring, and they just, I don't know, outsold. I think at the time was Arch Enemy was like their highest selling artist at the time, and they outsold them. Dude. So it was just like crazy.
Just a bunch of kids from the IE.
Yeah, we were playing like Bound of Blood or whatever. It's like they went from not being able to play shows. Yeah. Until I came in the picture with them and like really was like, yo, like we got, if we're playing, Suicide Silence is playing with us.
Wasn't it you that kind of convinced Joe to give them a chance at showcase?
And I forgot what show it was that I was trying to get them on, but Joe was always telling me like, oh no, like they need to be on metal shows. And then he'd be like, but they're too hardcore. They don't look metal, but they're too metal for hardcore, like, yeah. And so we go back and forth. And so I was like, okay, I'll book the show, but it's going to be Suicide and Bound in Blood. And he goes, if you want to book it, fine. But like, I have no place for them otherwise on the show, whatever. And
so crazy.
Yeah. And so I would book all our shows, and dude, we were playing like barns and backyards, like, until we got showcased. And then and I remember another show I had to drag them on was a God Forbid. It was a God Forbid, The Mistake, Remembering Never. Oh, shit. And I remember Joe being like, who can we get opening this show? And I go, Suicide Silence. And he goes, because like I was just like dead set on like,
yeah, didn't get it.
I mean, it's because of Mitch, like, yeah, it's like, I mean, I always liked Suicide Silence. I didn't know at the time that it was
gonna be what it was.
Yeah,
it was
to
just
me,
the homies.
It was just one of my best friends. I'm gonna help him as much as I can, and yeah, I mean, and he paid it back. When they did Spreading the Disease, I think in 2007 or something like that. He was like, it was like All Shall Perish, Oblige, Us, Suicide. I don't know, but they headlined, and Mitch was like, Bound in Blood's doing it. And dude, I had lost my voice already because the Dave Chappelle skit, the was like the cool thing to do.
Yeah.
So
Everybody knew where you went.
me and Eddie from Archivist, Perez, we kept fucking doing that every night. Like, and dude, like my voice was so shot from doing that. Like for like I don't know, like I think at that point it was like 2.5 weeks. Some shit like doing that every day. And then we played the show. My voice is like so exhausted, just from trying to scream, like no power at all. But that show was still fun.
Yeah.
And like it's like the one show too that Mark in the Dark, the guy who did the lights at Showcase, he recorded from the corner, like the balcony corner, and you see my dad, dude. And the video's awesome. Like the video quality's shitty, but like when the song kicks in, you hear all of Showcase singing the song, and you see my dad just fucking run over and just run through kids, trying to be a part of the chaos, and it's a cool video.
That's so cool.
But yeah, Mitch was like our return home show. I want Bound of Blood on it. I'm like, let's do it.
Yeah.
So
Make it happen.
they finally get to headline over us.
Yeah.
What a good time.
Hey, when did Bound and Blood start?
So I was the third singer. I think they started in 2000. And then I joined in 2002. And then, they started off as a Christian band.
Okay.
And then I don't know what happened. Somewhere, even before me, right? They like something happened where like they were all like pissed off about something, and the singer was like, "Okay, like, fuck everybody," and like whatever. And but Mike Milford from Scars.
Mm-hmm.
Told the band, I did like a little guest spot or whatever at Showcase with them, and Milford told the band, you guys need to get rid of Brad and get Gabe in the band because he has more energy and like all the shit, something like that. I don't know, paraphrasing, I guess. And so they got me in the band, and then I was like, if I'm gonna do this, we're all straight edge, so we're just gonna be like a super fucking straight edge band. And I just went out on a quest. Oh, every song has to be a straight edge song, and yeah, just I think I got like 9 or something like that, and then there's one that wasn't, or maybe 2, but those weren't my songs. Those were the previous dude's songs. But yeah, I can't listen to that album though, so it's not good.
Dude, Mike Milford, is he still booking shows?
I last thing I knew was he was doing Stay Sick recordings or Artery recordings or
I thought he was, maybe it was Artery. I thought he was like doing a bunch of shit, and then I just haven't heard that name in years.
Yeah, I think I want to say he's still doing stuff with like the Attila camp or whatever, but I have no idea. I haven't seen him in years, nor have I spoken to him in years.
Crazy.
Yeah,
we've been in this game a long time.
I know. It's like a lot of stories and memories of too much. I mean, a lot of it just blurred.
Yeah,
a lot of it's just a blur to me, and I don't know. It's just, I think working at Showcase kind of like sped up, or really washed out a lot of like other memories that could have been cool. But and touring too. I don't know if you deal with that. I feel like touring really messes with your memory bank.
Yeah.
Where it's like you just can't remember anything.
I never thought I'd be like the guy who would forget, like, oh shit, we toured with them? What tour was that?
Mm-hmm.
Or like,
or what happened yesterday?
Yeah. Well, okay, so this is something that I remember, especially during like the pandemic, I started to do Instagram lives, and I was making a point to bring on MBR dudes and like talk about their time in MBR, current and old. And one of the things that became very clear to me was I was like, one of us is remembering this.
We remember this differently. And so, I don't know if I'm the unreliable narrator or if it's the guys in my band, but like, I don't know. I used to think I had like a pretty good memory for stuff. And like now I have a hard time when like, like I have a box of like my laminates, whatever. Yeah. And like I was looking, I was like, fuck, what was that tour? I was like, when was this? And then like, I don't know. I never thought I'd be that guy.
Yeah. And so it's important for years to be on everything.
Yeah, dude.
Like I cannot stand now when I see flyers, especially the flyers I've collected, and it's just like June 17th. I was like, wait, was it Saturday? Was that a Friday? Like what? Like how am I? What's the date then? It's like I know it's somewhere, this year, but what? So I always make it a point now. It's like 2023 or whatever year it is, I always try to put it on something. Like
That's smart.
I'll put like in a little corner small or whatever, but it's like I cannot stand that now.
Like Friday, June 26, 2023.
Yeah. Always has to date, full date, everything.
Yeah.
Because, in 20, 30 years from now, it's just like, if there's, there's going to be other archivists out there coming up or whatever, I mean, they're out there. They were out there before me and they're going to be out there after me. And it's just like, if they're going to stumble on all this shit, like, or if they're collecting today, I'm making it easy for them to like.
Someone's gonna come up in that garage sale at the house and be like, "Damn, what's all this shit?"
Yeah.
So I can't remember if we've talked about this. What was your take on the Showcase documentary, or did you see it?
Yeah, I seen it. So I told Logan, because I talk to Logan pretty often about it, and it ends too much. Like, I feel like there's like 3 different endings to it, and it like it'll end for me. It'll end, and then it'll kick back in for like another half hour. Then it'll end, then it'll come back, and like, oh my goodness, like, come on. So I don't know. I mean, for what it was, I liked it because I feel like I was a part of like I went to the punk shows, I went to the hardcore shows, but like when I talked to friends about it, they're like, man, they didn't showcase the punk scene enough, or and it's just like, well, the dude's a hardcore kid. His brother was in Final Burden, like, of course, like he's gonna focus more on the hardcore thing, so it's like, it's just one of those things that I don't know.
I guess you can never make anyone truly happy because the Showcase was so different for everybody.
Yeah. Everybody went to different shows that were iconic for them.
They're gonna piss off everybody because there's like zero rockabilly in it. I mean, there was a lot of good psychobilly bands that hit there, all the black metal bands that hit there, but like none of it's in it. I mean, they had like little like montage of like of it all. But
some flyers here and there.
But I mean, it's like, how are you supposed to, show what 95 they got there to 2008? Like, you can't squeeze all that history in
it needs
an
to be
hour,
a series.
2 hours.
It can't be like a
like year by year kind of thing almost.
But I mean, for what it was, I was happy. I'm just happy that someone did something at all.
Yeah, that's how I kind of lean towards that too.
And it's gonna get released. A lot of people like hit me, well, when's it gonna get released? And they're gonna release it to the public. It's just a lot of the copyright, the music that was used in it, a lot of the artists and labels were like, nah, like, they're not happening. So that's the whole.
AFI was a big one of those.
I don't know, but I know that Logan had hit me up for a backside contact, and I got him in touch with Steve, and Steve signed off for backside.
Oh yeah.
So he was like, like you gotta get backside.
Backside.
He was like, they're like the house band for so long.
Dude, there's a couple bands of like I've seen this band so many times, never on purpose, or never trying to. I think Backside has got to be the band for that. Where I never like, I've never, and not to knock them because like eventually I became a fan of theirs. Obviously, like I saw them so many times, but I never paid to see Backside. It was always like, sick, Backside's on this show. Like, anyway, like because I was a huge Falling Sickness fan and Voodoo, and they were always all playing together.
Falling Sickness, that's my brother's, like, before at the drive-in, like Omar Rodriguez or whatever, before Omar came into the picture, Fritz was like everything. It was like the guitar god. Yeah. To my brother, them, and he's the guitar player for Strung Out. Still
so unique, their style. Like I'll go back and listen, and I'm just like, yeah, this is obviously there's ska and it's punk, but it has elements of it's still so unique to me. I don't think anyone sounds like Falling Sickness.
Yeah, I feel like them and the Assorted Jelly Beans were just like on their own trip of like what they were doing, because everybody else like had like Real Big Fish, Jeffrey's Fan Club, Low Pressure. They all had like that same like third wave ska niche like formula, but then you got like Assorted Jelly Beans, the Falling Sickness, and you're like what is it?
Yeah, because it's not like you try to put them in the camp of like ska punk. Like, it's not Less Than Jake.
No,
it's harder than that,
and it's not Suicide Machines, right? Like, or Link 80 even. You know, it's like in its own lane of how creative and out of the box they wrote their songs. I mean, Sword Jelly Beans is 3-piece. And that dude was like, I don't know if you like listen to Sword Jelly Beans, but like, I mean, the dude, like, the way he noodles notes and stuff is just like, how's he doing that live? Like, it's insane. I seen him, last time I seen him was a pretty rough performance, but I recorded the whole set and I won't release it.
Dang.
I feel bad. Yeah, like, I love
dude.
him too much to like tarnish their legacy, and it is pretty bad.
I'm not gonna lie, I went through a phase where I was kind of a little bit of a hater, just because, you know, Falling Sickness had Ripper Side, and then Sword Jelly Beans had Wicker Side, and like I actually have a family tie to Falling Sickness. They're actually they are like a huge reason why I even thought music was even obtainable to even do, because up until then, like anyone in a band or just bands, I just felt like, I don't know where these people are born and raised from, but I'd never known anyone to do music in that way, and then to see Falling Sickness and to know that like our grandmas are related in some weird way. So I've seen them at like family things. It's like Gabe and his brother and his brother's band and stuff too. But like seeing them, and I always thought they were, you know, being biased, I guess, but like I thought they were incredible. And then to be like, dude, I know that guy. Like I like he's a real person. He's not just some dude in a band that I randomly see. It just made music like obtainable for me, and that was like, I think for me, like a huge like force to like to want to do music.
Yeah, that's so funny because my brother's that same way with Falling Sickness too. It was just like, saw Fritz playing, he's like, I want to play guitar too. Like, I want to play guitar like that.
Yeah, I saw Fritz play and I was like, I'll never play guitar like that. But I want to play guitar.
Yeah, it's so funny.
Even now, dude, I try to get that sound if I'm fucking around on guitar, and I'm just like, I give up really quickly.
It's funny with Guards of Justice, says he can't do it.
Dude.
He can't do the little like.
But he can do freaking everything else.
Yeah, he can do the upstroke,
the up picking.
He can't do it. It's so funny. Dude.
Like it, yeah. Like, you know, they're not even that. They're just, everything was just so fucking fast.
Yeah.
Too, and
it's like constant. Like, I don't know. I can't constantly palm you, like letting go. Like, I can't do it.
One of my funny stories is like, I remember, you know, there's been a couple times where my parents like were kind of checked me on the music I was listening to.
Sucks.
And so my mom came in. My mom, yeah, I know. Our experiences are very different. Very different. But I remember my mom had like gone through. I probably left CDs out, and so she went through and she like read the lyrics. Of course, she finds Falling Sickness, and she's reading it, and she's like, "Do you understand these lyrics, Michael? Just did a line, I can't go to sleep. You know, what is it? My heart's beating fast, body's feeling weak. 3 weeks I've been up all night, so high. I don't know, like basically cocaine, like talking about shit, cocaine. And I'm like in 7th grade or so whatever, and I'm like, I don't know, I really like this band. I like the music. I don't know what the lyrics are. She's like, it's about drugs. I was like, sick.
I feel like, do you remember being a kid and hearing those songs, but did you really give a shit?
No.
Like,
no.
They didn't make you want to go out and do cocaine.
No.
There was a song, Cocaine.
Yeah.
You know, like
fucking Eric Clapton.
Yeah.
And just like, all right.
Yeah.
Yeah, and my response was like, I don't know, Mom. I listened to that song Under the Boardwalk. Like, it's about having sex under the boardwalk. I don't know. Like, what about your songs, Mom? Like, like throwing shit back at her.
It's the delivery.
Yeah. But
yeah, it's a lot of like my dad never cared. Like, I'd be like in my room when I was like learning to like scream or whatever. I'd listen to like Warzone's Fight for Justice album, and like right out the gate, it's like, who the fuck do you think you are, man? And it's just like, I'd be in there like screaming, who the fuck do you, you know? And my dad would not say anything, like at all. Like,
he's like,
yeah, like you got some lungs going on, you know? Like, I don't know, you know, but like he did not care. Like, my parents did not care about propaganda, you know, that Haile Selassie up your ass. It's just like, you just listen to that shit all the time. Like,
wait a minute, Dad, did you actually say freedom? Yeah. Dumb enough to vote, you're fucking dumb enough to believe him.
Yeah, it is.
I used to recite that like in high school.
Yeah,
I still do.
That whole album though, it's just like, it's just layered with fucks all over the place, and it's like, yeah, my dad is just like, as long as you're not in trouble with the law, like
as long as you're not in jail.
Yeah, you know, like, and I feel like a lot of parents don't even get that. They don't understand that, you know, that like kids could be doing anything and they're gonna get, you know,
especially
up their ass about fuck or shit, or you know, or whatever, like about music. It's just, I don't know.
To my parents' credit, though, they were cool about me doing music when I was doing it. Like, we used to practice in my garage, which drove them nuts. But I remember, like, later on, my mom was like, well, at least I knew where you were at.
Mm-hmm.
And, like, I knew you guys were there. And then I had actually an old, like, a family friend, one of my friend's brothers, vouched for me at a party. And he wasn't telling on me, and I think he was doing me a solid. And I remember it was in high school, and he told my parents that he's like, yeah, Mikey and his friends like showed up to see this band play at this party. Like, it was a party. They saw the band play, and then when the band was done, they left. And that was my high school life. Like, I didn't give a shit about partying.
Yeah.
I didn't drink in high school and do anything in high school. But anytime like a band was playing somewhere, like we'd go backyard parties. And as soon as the show was done or we no more bands, we'd bounce.
Where'd you go to the backyard shows at?
Like just anywhere we could in Riverside. Like
Okay.
we went to like, do you remember the band Dysentery?
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say.
Yeah.
If you ever saw Dysentery backyard, because I always seen them in backyards.
Yeah.
So I'm wondering if me and you probably
Probably
were like in the same backyard at one point in time.
Not drinking, just being
Just,
weirdos.
well, dude,
Two different corners of the backyard.
Well, dude, at that point, I was like, dude, I'm like high on 10-yard fight. I'm like so fucking edge. I'm at those parties like knocking beers out of people's hands and shit, you know. And my brother used to get mad at me. He's like, what the fuck are you doing? Like, you're gonna get me beat up because you're fucking.
You get all the beers.
Yeah, because I'm like throwing all these beers on the ground. Like if I see a can just sitting there, like someone sits down, I go smack it off the tables and shit.
Dude.
You know, so like I was like so like edge, but like I was always at one of those parties. My brother played in a band called In Opposition. Did you remember? Yeah. That's my brother's
Dude.
band.
Wow. So it's funny because I was in a different, because I didn't get into hardcore until much later, and then bands that I saw that were hardcore I didn't know. I'm like, well, it's like just punk with more screaming. But like for me, the way I saw drinking and all that, so for me I was like, I felt like I was like so punk rock that I was just like, you guys aren't true punkers. Like you're too fucked up to enjoy what's going on.
Yeah.
I was like, you're not. I was like, this isn't like, that's not punk to me. That's like. You're using punk rock as a place to get fucked up. And
Like if you weren't fucked up, you wouldn't be having fun.
Yeah, I thought that was lame.
And they're supporting big business.
Yeah,
You know,
like
Fuck
dude,
outta
I
here.
remember the
Outta
barn.
here.
I remember the barn the first time. Like I had like an older dude swing on me, who was drunk, and I remember thinking like I saw the punch like telegraphed a mile away. I was like, dude, like
The sickest dodge you've ever had.
like Keanu Reeves.
But then also the first time getting punched by like a grown ass man, and I was like 15.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know, but I think the barn was also good for me in that sense too, because I'd be like, I see dudes like trash, just like falling in the pit, and I'm like, don't pick that fucker up, dude. Like, kick him out. Like, I don't know. It's funny. I think we had like kind of similar mindsets, but different.
Yeah.
But yeah, and then like I'm sure we've been at the same. I'm sure we were at the same backyard parties or fucking garages. Like,
Yeah, we always went to backyard shows and then the barn, especially like in the late '90s, it was backyards and the barn.
Yeah.
Like I never went to Showcase. I went to Showcase like maybe 4 or 5 times in the '90s.
really?
And that was it. Yeah, I was like Isaac Green, the Scholars, and then I seen Link 80, Jeffrey's Fan Club, I think like Low Pressure, Pharmaceutical Bandits, but then I saw 10-Yard Fight. That was the first hardcore show I paid for.
Damn.
Was 10-Yard Fight, and that's one of those shows that we were talking about earlier about like just totally like changed like a direction in life.
Yeah.
Like the singers just stepping on my hands, and I remember just thinking like, wow,
That's
like
fucking
you know, I mean, I went from seeing like Ted Nugent and you know Poison and like all these hair metal bands, you know, on like Blockbuster Pavilion or whatever, like you know they're like a mile away. And I've seen 10-Yard Fight now, and this dude, the singer, is stepping on my hands, and I'm just like, I want to do this. Like, I want to be a part of this.
Yeah.
Now that's where like everything changed. But it was because of Link 80 though that made me even be interested in hardcore, because they were already incorporating like actual breakdowns in their songs.
That
And I
used to
was just
confuse the
like,
shit out of me, man.
You're just so lost.
I was
Dude,
like,
dude,
what
I
is
heard-
happening?
I heard Firestorm after I heard Link 80's version of Firestorm. They put Firestorm the first like verse like the street by street, or they had that in one of their songs in Dime Store Hood or something. And I remember thinking at the time, I was like, whoa, like this is heavy, like I want more of that. And then like years later I found out it was actually Earth Crisis that they were putting in their song or whatever.
That's funny. I didn't even think about that.
Yeah. So
Yeah. It's funny. My introduction, like I said, I didn't like consciously know what hardcore was until much later, like 2004, 2005, and so, but it was like I always had this, I always had this energy of like whenever I saw a hardcore band, I guess in my mind, I thought hardcore was like more like what I know like to be like metal or like that, like that's what I thought it was. I didn't realize the closeness it had to punk rock.
Yeah.
So like, for like Bane, I was like, Bane's a punk band. And it was like my girlfriend at the time. She's like,
Bane's a little bit heavier.
Bane's a hardcore band. I'm like, this is punk. I was like, this is punk rock.
Like Reach the Sky and like all those In My Eyes. Like I was at a youth crew. Is like very much like if you're like a punk kid and you're kind of like, trying to, bridge a gap between punk and hardcore, and you're trying to cross that bridge. I guess like those would be the bands to like start with. Because they had a really easy win to like.
Yeah, I didn't find out about Youth Crew until later on, and then that made sense. If I would have found them early on, I would have claimed straight edge. I would have been more. I would have been about it.
Yeah.
Like, but at the time, like I just didn't do that stuff because I felt like it was such a cop out for like why you're even into music in the first place. I was like, you're not about music, you're about partying.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And like, yeah, but a hardcore band that I saw at Showcase, I remember my buddy and I just being fucking terrified because we were like, what is this? We saw, I think they're from Salt Lake City, a band called Clear.
Oh, so good.
Dude, terrified. I was just like...
you want to talk about terrifying, right? I'll tell you my Clear story. I saw Clear, it had to be like 98. Had to be 98. They played with Chorus Disapproval at Showcase. And I went with my janitor of my elementary school. And, yeah. Yeah. And it was my dad. My dad. It was me, my dad, and the janitor. I forgot his name now. I really wish I knew his name now. But he got wasted at that show, and the whole time he's like just drunk. Damn. He got drunk and he was like, "Fuck Salt Lake City," like the whole time, right?
Shit.
Nothing happened. It's like to me, it was like I mean, again, I'm only like 12, 13 at the time. I'm like thinking, like, how's this dude like fucked up at this point?
Mm-hmm.
And like we get in his truck to go home, or whatever. We go to that Del Taco, and we're in drive-thru, and me and my dad are in the back seat or the fuck, and all we hear is all the windows one at a time just being smashed out, and the people are just yelling like "Salt Lake, motherfucker," and it's like, are you fucking serious? Like these dudes like just smashed out my window, and now, all these years later. It was my friend Blake and his friends. But he told me, he was like, oh, I think I remember that. Like,
You're like, yeah.
Yeah, so late, dude. Very, they always have a story to bring with them. The first time Every Time I Die came out, played. Fucking wild, too. It's like 2001 or somewhere. 2000, yeah, maybe like 2001, 2002. No, 2001. They came out with like Martyr. 18 Visions, I think, or something. And man, Salt Lake City came out and just like the biggest brawl ever at Showcase. I seen like people getting like curb stomped and shit. Like,
oh, fuck.
It got wild, man. And then again at Disembodied Reunion, they're out there and another fight again. I don't know why there's like a beef with like Salt Lake and Orange County or something. I think it's done now. Mm-hmm. All these, now that everyone's kind of like cycled out. Mm-hmm. But man, at that point, it was just like. Some of the shows were like very intense.
That was the other thing too. I felt like fights were different at hardcore shows than they were at punk shows, and like the first time seeing basically like a swarm beating was like at a throwdown show. I was like, what? I was like, what is going on here, dude? Like what? That dude. I was like, that big dude just got beat the shit out of by like 10 small dudes. What the fuck was that?
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
Dude, you know, Greg from Oblige.
Mm-hmm.
He got beat up on by a couple of my friends, and I remember having to pull him off of Greg.
For anyone who doesn't know, Greg is a big, and he was always a fit dude,
big girthy dude, and he got beat up on by 3 of my friends, and I remember pulling my friends off, and they were just like, "Yo, we love you, but you're gonna join them the next time."
Dang.
And I was like, then that was like the whole like welcome to the crew world of hardcore, and I was like, all right, well,
here we go.
That's the whole thing.
Crazy times.
Fun times, man. Well,
Yeah, I'm sure we can
I
sit
feel
here
like we
and
go
tell.
forever.
I feel like
Yeah.
we might have to do a part 2, dude, when we come back.
Fun.
dude, I want to do. I want to get you on and just talk about barn shows.
Dude, let's do it. Dude, I just met a dude at Los Albertos off of Brockton or Magnolia or whatever, and he was like, "Oh yeah, I'm friends with Golden Voice." And I go, "Oh, do you know Bill?" And he goes, "Yeah, of course." Like I used to go to the barn, and I'm like, and then if my wife was there, she would have been like, "Oh fuck."
No.
Yeah, like, oh,
No, we gotta go.
Yeah,
We gotta go.
I ended up just hanging out with him for like half hour, just talking about the barn too. But it's crazy. Nobody knows the barn. It's really a forgotten venue at this point. Like Showcase overshadowed it, and then obviously as these kids cycle out and they disappear. Even Showcase, like kids today didn't go.
Yeah, which is wild.
Yeah, kids were like 5 years old when it closed.
Were
Yeah,
you, that fucking hurts my feelings. Were you the one that posted that it was supposed to be like almost like a food lab type?
Yeah, I got an update.
scenario? Did you?
I got an update.
Oh shit!
Yeah, I'll share it with you guys.
Wait, we'll talk about it
off
after.
air,
Yeah, we'll talk about it after the fact.
Yeah, I got
Fuck.
an update there. Yeah, but yeah, it was crazy times of all that, and yeah, I could go on forever.
Dude, yeah, we'll bring you back for a part 2. That way we're not making people sit here for 4.5 hours of us just talking about
Talking about a bunch of bands that are like, who, what?
Yeah, they're like, what? So, did you want to? I guess before we get out of here, you want to plug Darasuum? You want to plug your business?
Well, I don't have a business. I would say that I do have a couple friends that just bought a venue called Baseline Studios, and 5-7 Booking and Inland Hardcore are hoping to start making that like a full-time thing. Dude,
Cool.
even hit me up and goes, "Yo, you know anyone who books ska bands?" I was like, "Yes, I do."
Yeah.
I do actually. Yeah. And so, but I'm hoping that the Inland Empire has something to really call its own. It's not gonna be Showcase, of course, not even the location because it's in San Bernardino, but it's just nice to know
To
that
have somewhere.
that we have our own spot, like a legit spot. It's not a glass shop. It's not a house.
It's not underneath the
Backyard.
porch.
Yeah.
Gnarly backyard.
Yeah, it's like we finally got a building.
Cool.
That we could
Dude, that's
call our
fucking
own.
sick.
So yeah,
Exciting.
Baseline Studios and Inland Hardcore and 5.7 Booking on Instagram. Follow that, and then Darasuum's just writing for full length. I imagine if time is all right, it should come out early 2024. So we'll see how that goes. I don't know.
Sick.
We've never been good with time, so.
You still doing design work and?
Yeah, I mean, I try to do it more like privately at this point. I do for like still big bands or whatever, but I try to keep it private because I don't want it to be my
Your
full-time thing. Especially I have 3 kids. I have to be a husband, family man still, and trying to make it a full-time thing.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, it's really possible.
So before we go,
Yeah.
we're trying to build our podcast playlist.
Oh yeah.
What's a jam that either you've been jamming this week or just something you want to just throw on that people should check out?
Ooh, man. I'll try to go newer. Let's do Movements. I think the song's called Daylily.
Oh okay.
Yeah, and that's not my favorite song on Feel. It's the album's called Feel Something.
Mm-hmm.
It's not my favorite song on it. My wife really likes it, so I feel like, well, it must be a good song then. On the album, the song after that is like my favorite song, but the whole album in general is a banger. So,
Yeah,
Daylily.
movements is dope.
Yeah.
Mike, what's your song this week?
Since we were talking about them, I'm gonna throw up "Falling Sickness," "Start Over."
Good one.
Trying to get Burner State to cover that.
Falling Sickness. Which one?
Start over.
"Start Over."
All right.
It's funny going off of like the same as we just said. Like a lot of bands that I listen to, obviously like a lot of like drinking and drugs and shit.
Yeah.
You know, it's like against it.
You you can live vicariously through
Yeah,
them.
yeah. The irony. Well, they're in a band. They're doing it. They're
Yeah.
they're
Well,
actually
like, even
musicians.
like Oasis. I mean, they even sing about coke. You know.
Bush sings about heroin. You know, no big deal.
Yeah. Oh, you don't pick a song.
I'll throw mine in there. Just because of this weekend, I've just been jamming it. But "Break the Ice," Sean Farnham from the Rad soundtrack.
What?
Have you seen that movie?
No.
Rad?
Have you seen that movie, Rad?
It's so deliciously 80s. It's a BMX movie. There's a BMX dance scene. There is a BMX dance scene in it. The soundtrack for that is just...
It's just such an 80s banger that is, yeah.
And what I didn't know, so John Farnham is he's majority of the songs are like him on there. But like, I didn't realize this, but like, that was kind of like a, like those songs are like kind of like rock for him. Because he's like, he's written some other like more like epic, I don't know.
Like those 80s synth wave, like
ballads.
ballad type shit.
Incredible voice.
A lot of it's really corny, but it's also like corny in a great way.
Yeah, I don't know.
You're like, I'm out.
I don't know. It's like I think it's something like that. I'm thinking like Napoleon Dynamite or some shit. So,
It's not far.
It's not far. It's not very far removed from that.
Yeah. Sick. That's a good one, Michael.
Right.
I've been jamming it because, yeah,
Yeah.
we got plans for that song. We'll say that. Well, sick for us at Walking Blind Pod, pretty much everywhere. walkingblindpod@gmail.com. Keep an eye out because we're gonna be I think we plan to announce some stuff about the Feels and Wheels coming up pretty soon. And then it's make sure you check it out. Hit us up on the emails. Make sure you guys send in any type of questions or even just like hit us up, say what's up. And yeah, that's it.
Sick.
We're gonna bring you back for probably like part 2, part 3.
Let's do it, dude.
We
Let's
got
do it.
so many stories to tell.
Yeah, we didn't even like scratch the
barely
surface.
scratch the surface.
Like that. We just talked about my childhood.
Yeah.
We gotta talk about the touring.
Yeah.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah. Well, sick. We love you guys. We'll see you guys soon. Peace.